Hello everybody, we are back here on the Hunter Call of the Wild, and it's been a very long time since we have actually done a bit of a Great One Grind update. I've been using a strategy that I have been actually using for quite a while at this point. It's been probably a month and a half to 2 months since I started doing it this way, but I figured it was about time that I finally shared how I do it. Now, I did want to real quickly say that Mel's Gaming's already done a video similar to this, but since you guys probably are interested in what I've been doing with the Great One, I decided to do one as well. But if you haven't already, be sure to go check her channel out. She does some great Call of the Wild content, and I believe at this point she's got 5 Great Ones. I think it's 5 at least. It might be 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 5 Great Ones, which is kind of crazy, so be sure to go check her out. But what we're gonna do today is kind of look at the strategy I've been doing with the whitetail, and then also go over a bunch of the trophies that we've got for whitetail deer in the last 2 weeks. We've killed quite a few diamonds and rares, so we got a lot to show off today. But first, we're gonna start out by kind of going over the strategy I've been using. Now, I guess first we'll look at the guns I'm using. I've been using the 300 Magnum, that way they don't run a long ways, and then I've also been using the M1. Now, you're not actually able to get full score when using the 300, but it makes it so if you accidentally don't get vitals on them, they don't run nearly as far, so that's one of the main reasons I've been using it for some of the shots, and I do find it to be pretty effective. Now, the strategy that I've been using for whitetail deer is basically just shoot everything. What I'm trying to do is completely delete every single herd that I see, and in order to do that, a lot of times you have to do multiple runs, but what I like to do is delete every single deer out of a herd. So just kill every single deer that you see, and what that basically does is once that herd is fully killed off, it will spawn a brand new herd. And for some reason, I feel like you get better trophies when full herds are respawning. It could just be an illusion, but I do feel like there is something to it. But like I've always said with everything, take it with a grain of salt. It's just my experience. Your experience might be a little bit different, but let's go ahead and just kill every single deer at this lake real quickly. Something else that I do that's a little bit different than what a lot of people do, and I really do think this is the best way to do it, is I dedicate all of my tents to about 4 lakes. And those 4 lakes are going to be these 3 right here, Bosque Alto, Ghost Lake, and La Hacienda. And then our 4th lake is actually up here. Now, this one only requires 1 tent, but as you'll notice, I have every single other tent between these 3 lakes, which is a total of 15 tents. And this really helps you quickly get between zones, and I find that that is the most efficient way to hunt these whitetail when you're grinding for the Great One. I can easily kill 100 to 150 whitetail in 2 hours, which is really what you need to do if you're trying to make the grind go quickly. And I've got these tents placed pretty strategically, so basically I always spawn at this tent right here at La Hacienda, and I always shoot all the deer that I can see from this spot, and then I fast travel over here, and when I do that, any deer that are at zones around where this tent is will start to render in, because when you actually spawn at that tent, they won't render in if they're within, I think, 150 meters, so the second you fast travel away, anything that would have been there is going to render in. Hopefully there's actually some here. I don't know if there will be, because I have been shooting quite a few whitetail, and sometimes it takes them a little while to come back once you've shot quite a few of them, but we're gonna go ahead and claim the deer over here, and then once we get done claiming them, we'll look back there and see if there's any bucks or does. And yeah, there we go, we got a few of them right there, so now we just take out all of these, although they are kind of in the brush at the moment, so we might have to wait a second. And it looks like there was also another deer over here that we ended up missing. I'm assuming that it was probably at this zone right here. Now, sometimes I do have issues with this zone spooking off whenever I fast travel. It's kind of a weird one. A lot of times they won't be rendered in, but they'll still spook off when you fast travel. I really don't know what to make of it, but it seems to happen quite often with that zone. Alright, so now that we've got a decent view on these deer right here, we're actually going to take out the 300 Magnum for these just to make sure they don't go anywhere. And now that they have ran off, we're going to have to try and hit them on the run. Which, if they'd stop stopping, it'd be a lot easier. We're just going to try and get down as many of them as we can. I think we should be able to get pretty much all of them. Yeah, it definitely looks like it, and now we got a random doe coming through here, so we'll attempt to hit her if she stops stopping once again. But we basically just want to kill off every single deer at this lake. Every single deer that we can get in our sights we want to take down. And it really doesn't matter if you delete the zones either. You'll find that a lot of times they just come back to the exact same lake. At least in my experience, when I'm only hunting the 4 lakes that I mentioned, they always respawn at the same lake you killed them at. They might switch to a different zone on that lake, but they never go to any other lake in my experience. And once again, we got a couple more of them right there, so we'll go ahead and take those out if we can. And that should be good right there. I know there's probably still quite a few of you that are using Grimm's method for Great One grinding, and that method still is great. It still works just as well as it always has. However, on Rancho, it's not necessarily a strategy that you have to use. With Layton, it's one of those things where it really helps with keeping your herds intact and making it so they don't dwindle down to doe only. But on Rancho, that's not really much of an issue since they always respawn at the exact same lake that you killed them at, no matter how many times you delete the zone. So here on Layton, it really doesn't apply as much. You can pretty much just shoot everything and not really have to worry about anything disappearing. However, if you do start to see does being like the only thing at your lakes, then just kill off all of them because that will usually trigger the herds to come back. If you start getting to a point where there's not many deer at a lake, just kill off as many of them as you can find that are left, and eventually it should start repopulating with tons of herds. That's what's happened every time that I've seen them kind of slow down. And in fact, we're kind of in a period like that right now because we didn't have nearly as many as what I typically would, and my guess is once we wipe out all of these, the next time we come here, there's going to be a ton of good herds, so we'll probably try to keep that in the video as well. So I guess before we get too far in this video, we might as well talk about the kill progress we've made here on the Rancho del Arroyo Great One grind, because we've made quite a bit of progress since the last time that I made a video on our Great One grind. We've been doing a lot of Great One hunting on the live streams, and every stream we've been killing probably like 100 to 150 whitetail. And then I've also been doing the same in the evenings after I get done editing. And it's made it so we've made tons of progress. We're now at 8,123 kills in total on whitetail deer, 4,869 of those being on Rancho. We also have 41 diamonds and over 45 rares. I don't know the exact number because of the fur type bug that happened, but it's somewhere over 45 for the rares. And then we also have 3 great ones, so we've honestly done pretty well. I've got more rares than most people do and also got less diamonds than a lot of people. So it's interesting how that balances out. We got more rares, but less diamonds than a lot of people do, which is pretty interesting. And since I already went over it on the La Hacienda Lake, I'm not going to do it on the other lakes because it would make this video incredibly long, so we'll just kind of go over it on the map. But I do the same thing here pretty much. I spawn in at a tent and then hunt this zone, and then once I've hunted all the zones that are visible from this stand, then I fast travel to them and claim things, making sure that I'm not spooking anything off in the process. You want to make sure that there's no deer within a couple hundred meters when you fast travel, which is why I've got them placed the way I do. That way when I fast travel to these, I will have already shot all the deer at both of these zones, and then I can shoot the deer over here from this zone, making it so I'm not going to spook those off either. And then over here, it's the same thing pretty much. I spawn in here, I check this zone, check this zone. If there's anything there, I claim them, and then we go over here and hunt this zone. And that makes it so nothing spooks off from just fast traveling, which is really nice. And as you can see, even though I kill off my herds constantly, we still have really good amounts of whitetail over here. And in fact, there's 2 different herds over here that are pretty decent. And a lot of that is just because when you kill off the zones constantly, there's times where you'll have multiple herds joining up in the same zone because you deleted the zone that they were previously at. Like this zone right here, I deleted last night along with this one. So those herds moved around to zones like these. It does make it so there's a lot more deer in one area, which can sometimes be a little more difficult to take them out because of that, but it still makes it so that you don't really lose anything with the whitetail. As you guys can see, they're still all over even though I constantly delete my zones. Alright, so I did one of my normal runs and now we are back here at La Hacienda after a quick time change, so let's go ahead and see what we got. We've got a pretty decent herd over there with a really nice level 2. That guy is definitely decent size. We also have a few more over here, nothing too crazy there. And then over here, it looks like there's no herds at the moment, but there is a few herds that usually arrive late, I've noticed, when they are over on this side. So that could just be that we are waiting for another one. But it does look like we got a lot more over on this side than we did previously. So it does show you that they just kind of move around the lake a little bit when you're deleting the zones here at La Hacienda and pretty much all the other lakes that we've gone through today. And once again, those 4 lakes are La Hacienda, the Ghost Lake down here, Bosque Alto, and then this little lake up here. And we'll just real quickly leave this on screen for a brief moment so that you guys can get a good idea of my tent layout. And in fact, since they're kind of covered up in places, we'll zoom in on each of these just so you all can get a chance to screenshot where I've got all my tents and where I've got all my stands and kind of what's been working best for me with this grind. And it's been really effective. I'm very happy with the results I've received from it, and up here's probably the simplest, just 1 stand and 1 tent. And now that we've kind of took a look at what we got over here, let's fast travel to this tent over here and just kind of see if there was any zones on top of where we were. There's a pretty good chance that there might be, although we do have a little bit of hunting pressure still, so that might be stopping one of the zones from coming back, most likely this one. So that is the one other downside, is sometimes you do need to wait for hunting pressure to clear, but that's honestly pretty easy when you're hunting this way because you just go to another lake and unleash on all the whitetail and problem solved. Well, it looks like we did have a few deer spook off out of there. I see a doe at least. Which means since that's a solo doe, it's probably blocking one of the herd spawns, so we'll have to kill her off, and then more should appear. Or actually, I guess they're right there. Never mind. I guess they just weren't rendered in yet. There's a bunch of whitetail there, actually. And that's also a pretty decent level 2 as well, so we did get a couple decent 2 respawns out of that, but I think that's about as far as this whole guide will go. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at all of the different rares and diamonds that we've killed over the last 2 weeks during the Great One grinding here on YouTube during the live streams and also during my evening grinding sessions. The first half is not going to have any commentary over it, and then the last half will, but I think because of the fact that the first half will not have commentary, let's talk a little bit about a couple of the trophies that we're going to look at first. This first one was one of the biggest whitetail deer that I've killed on this entire grind, and in fact, I think it might be my biggest one since they revamped the scoring system. And I decided to take it out with iron sights because in a clip that you will see later in this video, we tried to do iron sights and, well, unfortunately, it didn't go quite to plan. We'll not really spoil anything else so you guys can actually watch it for yourself, but this was by far the biggest buck that I've killed on this grind that wasn't a great one, so I was pretty happy to see this. And then also we ended up getting a couple others, which we'll just kind of play those along with all of the others that don't have audio. Just real quickly, with some music in the background. That's a big deer right there. I think that's a diamond. I think that one's a diamond. In fact, I don't see any way that that could not be a diamond. That thing is so wide. Yeah, it is a gigantic level 2. Honestly, I'm serious. I think this is the biggest level 2 I've seen. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hits like 261, because that is a really wide buck. This honestly might be main lodge worthy if it does score at least 261, because I've never killed a deer with this rack that scored above 260. Well, here we go. Let's go ahead and get a shot into this guy. And just like that, he's down. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big one. I'm saying 261. 259.40, and it is a diamond. Not quite as big as I thought it was, but that's still a really good one. 4.40 points above diamond, and it's only a level 2. Hey, what was I saying a little bit ago? I want a piebald buck, and that's a good one. Oh my gosh. That's actually a really nice piebald buck right there. And there's another decent buck with it as well. Can I get you to slow down? There we go. That is a beautiful deer. It's about time. It's been like probably 2,000 kills since I've got a rare buck. And this is actually kind of a cool one. That's got really close tip-to-tip spread. Jeez, 211.80. It's scored at the very top of the estimate. That's a cool rack too. That's a really cool rack on a piebald. Let's go, guys. That's a big, big male. That's a big, big male. That's a really good looking level 3. What a beauty. We could probably do 70 meters. Although I think we'll do 50, just to be safe. Okay, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Let's 0 to 30. And he's dead. Just like that, we got a diamond whitetail down. Or what should be a diamond. Honestly, with that tip-to-tip spread, kinda thinking it might troll, not gonna lie. I've had a really big racked, not red deer, a really big racked whitetail deer troll because it had really close tips. I don't think this one's gonna troll, but it's got a chance, maybe. It's gonna be lower scoring than what it normally would for this rack, though. That is a big male. It's a dime. Oh my gosh, it's actually higher scoring than I expected. Well, I guess this one's lower and that one's higher, so that might compensate for it a little bit. 268.70. Oh my gosh. Less than 1 kg off of max weight as well. That's a big male right there. I did not expect it to be almost 270. That's gotta be a diamond. That's gotta be a 3. Yep, that's a 3. Oh my gosh, it's a guaranteed diamond. 269 to 309. Oh my, you are quite the beast of a buck. Wow, that's a big diamond. Oh my, I think we're gonna kill it with the 243. Let's kill this thing with the 243. And I want to get closer to it. That's a giant deer. Just need him to go broadside. Then we should be able to take a shot. I want to make sure he's broadside with the 243. I probably could go for a frontal heart shot, but I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to wait for him to go perfectly broadside. And then take the shot. That should be solid right there. Should be a good hit. And it is. He's going down. That's a giant whitetail deer. It looks like a lot of you are thinking low 270s. Low to mid 270s. That's kind of where I'm leaning to as well. I'm going to say 270.40. And I'm guessing it's going to be max weight. 270.40 is my guess. Let's see if it ends up being that. Oh my gosh, I nailed it! I didn't get the weight right, though. It's definitely not max weight, but it is 270.40. Oh my gosh, I called it. That's crazy. I think that might be the first time I've perfectly called a diamond. Look at that rack, though. That's actually a really good-looking rack. I really like the way that looks. That's a solid whitetail. This actually might be one of the nicest racks I've seen since they changed the score requirements. I think what happened is this might not be the biggest rack. With this weight, I don't think this is the biggest rack. I think it just has really good tip-to-tip spread and really good inner spread. I think it's just a very wide buck, and honestly, that looks really good. This might be one of the nicest ones we've killed on the Great One grind. As much as I did not want to remove one of our turkey multi-mounts that has our melanistic female turkey in it, I felt like this was a mount that needed to be made. Because a couple of these whitetail that we got recently have been two of the coolest whitetail that I've seen in a long time. That 271.8 giant, along with that really high scoring middle-sized rack that typically only scores like 265 to 267, but this one ended up scoring like 270. I just could not resist putting this guy in a multi-mount as well. And then I also have our highest scoring whitetail ever, which I believe is that guy. I honestly have no clue. I don't know the order that they're in, but one of these is our 291 from a very long time ago when the Great One first released. And I think this is a great mount because all of these are very large for their rack, which is great. It's a pretty good multi-mount to have in this lodge. And I think it's only the third whitetail mount that we have in here, surprisingly. Most of the whitetail have gone into backup lodges because they're just duplicates of what I've already got. And now that I've made that mount, I can actually put up a couple different trophies in place of the ones that were right there. And I mean, we might as well make it a couple more whitetail from the grind. I mean, why not? Might as well. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this look at our progress on the Great One grind and kind of just all the cool trophies that we've got along the way. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, click the like button, and ring that notification bell. And, oh gosh, one of my keys just stopped working. The D key stopped working for a second. Okay, it's good now. That was a little scary, but yeah, as I was saying, if you haven't, leave a comment down below if there's anything more that you guys would like me to touch on with this grind. If there's anything else that you're curious about or confused about, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Because I know there's probably going to be some things that a couple of you might not understand or maybe want to know a little more about, and if that's the case, be sure to ask me about it. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!